I do not think we can carry on with business as usual. That is why we need to be bold, and we need to do things differently.
Big promises, a grand vision, and a new Prime Minister setting out a new direction for the economy. But what does Trussonomics, as some have called it, actually involve? Perhaps the best person to ask is this man, Gerard Lyons. He's been informally advising the Truss team.
I think the first thing is that she will confront the immediate challenge in terms of the energy crisis. But Trussonomics is more than that. It's about having a pro-growth economic strategy built on really the three arrows of monetary policy that keeps inflation in check, fiscal policy that stabilises the economy, and a supply-side agenda very much focused on boosting investment and getting the incentives right. That's low taxes and smart regulation.
Now, in some senses, none of this is very new. Every government wants economic growth. The problem is, well, making it happen, especially in the face of challenging times. It's hard to think of another Prime Ministership that has begun with the UK facing quite so much economic jeopardy. Energy prices at a record high, the pound at a record low, the UK facing a potential recession. These are all what you might call red flashing lights. So for all the talk about Trussonomics, the chances are her tenancy and indeed her chancellors could well be defined instead by what Harold Macmillan called events, dear boy, events. Now, even before you consider her energy programme, Liz Truss had already promised a host of spending increases to the extent that experts are struggling to keep up.
We know that beyond supporting energy bills, it seems to me inconceivable that they won't be finding additional money for public services. So there's a lot of extra money going to be needed there, which we haven't heard anything about.
And that's tens of billions.
That's tens of billions. Yeah. And in addition, of course, we've heard promises of tens of billions of tax cuts, or at least intended tax increases not going to happen.
100 billion or more on energy, further sums on spending and on tax cuts. You've probably already noticed a pattern about Trussonomics. It's quite expensive. So where's that money going to come from?
Truss will actually say borrowing is not a constraint. Borrowing is an option at the moment. We need to have fiscal discipline. We need to have financial solvency.
So you can just borrow as much as you want?
No, it's about having sensible. It's not borrowing as much as you want. It's about having a sensible economic policy.
Still, it all points to higher debt. And the more debt they're racking up over there in Westminster, the higher, all else equal, interest rates will go. So this place, the Bank of England, becomes all important, as does the wider city. Because if you are borrowing money, then you really need to find someone to lend it to you. That, in the end, was why George Osborne and Rishi Sunak didn't do things like this. If Trussonomics works, it could mean we get through the current crisis and maybe even get better off. If not, well, it could be a bumpy few years. Ed Conway, Sky News.